Normally with a video like this, I'd start with a long-winded exploration of HTC's recent history and what brought it to this point to build this high-end smartphone, the U Ultra. I think I can skip that this time. We all know HTC has been on the ropes and is really just in dire need of a rock star of a smartphone. Sadly, despite some really neat things going for it, it's clear to me the U Ultra just is not that device. We have to start with the design, because the U Ultra just might be the most divisive looking phone HTC has made in a long time. For years you could count on an HTC flagship to come clad in handsome metal, but with the U Ultra we've got a metal edge flanked front and back by glass. Our review unit is obviously a brilliant blue, and I find it absolutely gorgeous. The way this thing catches light is frankly kind of incredible, but it's a big change from HTC's norm. More troublesome for some will be the lack of a standard headphone jack. HTC stuck it out last year with the jack on the 10, but it's finally gone. There is a set of USB Type-C earbuds in the box, and they actually tweak the audio you're listening to for your ears at the touch of a button, but they're definitely not ideal for everyone. I personally find them way too heavy in the low ends. That bass is really thumpy, but just not for me. At least the dual speakers on the front and bottom of the U Ultra are loud. The phone is also really big, for some perhaps uncomfortably so, thanks to the 5.7-inch Super LCD 5 screen running at Quad HD. For the most part, I've really enjoyed using this big screen. It's not as bright as the LG G6's, but it's nice and spacious, especially when you dial down the display size in the settings. Get ready for some bright colors, which you can tweak a bit in settings, plus great viewing angles. Despite being coated in Gorilla Glass 5 though, the Ultra screen picked up new scratches faster than any phone I've recently used, except for the iPhone 7. But that's not all. There's a tiny second screen above that one too. It's similarly easy to read, but frankly, it's just way too limited to be of much use. Check this out. It can display the next upcoming item in your calendar, but there's no way to specify which calendar you want it to use if you have multiple accounts set up for work and personal stuff like I do. You can glance at a weather forecast for the rest of the day, but despite this being a US phone being used in New York, it displays 24-hour time instead of AMs and PMs. You can control music playback in Spotify or Google Play Music, but not Pandora or Pocket Casts or anything else. And for some reason, you can only access a tray of settings icons like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and flashlight toggles when the screen is off. Why? I don't know. I offer that question to the gods of bad software design. Maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. The second screen just kind of sucks at this stuff. HTC clearly had other plans for it. The AI-powered HTC Sense Companion is supposed to live there too, kindly offering reminders to bring umbrellas when it rains or to pack a power bank when your calendar indicates you're going to have a long day. The thing is, it takes time for Sense Companion to figure out your life, so don't expect any of those helpful hints to show up for at least a few weeks. I've been testing the U Ultra for over a week now, and I've gotten absolutely nothing. Thankfully, the rest of the software generally runs like a charm thanks to HTC's light touch with the Sense interface and the strong foundation that is Android 7.0 Nougat. Our unlocked model was free of almost all bloatware, and the few preloaded apps we did get, like News Republic for BlinkFeed and HTC's Boost Performance Management app, were more helpful than not. Combine all that with a Snapdragon 821 chipset, an Adreno 530 GPU, and 4GB of RAM, and it's no surprise that the U Ultra feels plenty fast. Most of the time, anyway. Over my week and a half of testing, I've run into my fair share of random lag while swiping through open apps and just unlocking the phone sometimes. These slow spells passed quickly enough, but they were more frequent than I cared for from an expensive phone, and they were made more noticeable by how solid the performance usually is. At least the battery seems alright. On average, I could squeeze about a day and a half of moderate use out of it, which, while middling compared to some of its competitors, is more or less fine for my life. Even though the U Ultra isn't poorly served by that 3000 mAh battery, bigger batteries are always better, and I frankly hoped for more out of such a physically big phone. Similarly just alright is the 12-megapixel camera around the back, which generally captures nice shots until it starts to get a little dim. The camera interface is actually a pleasure to use, but that's not a whole lot of consolation when the resulting photos almost universally lag behind photos taken with a Galaxy S7 or a Google Pixel. Put another way, this would have been a great contender last year, but last year's performance doesn't do HTC a whole lot of good right now. Now, I can't stress this enough. The HTC U Ultra is not a bad phone. It's beautiful, it's well built, and it plays home to a lot of really good ideas. They've just been covered up by questionable decisions and hamstrung by what feels like a lack of focus. All of this is just made more disappointing by the fact that last year's HTC 10 seemed like such a clear step in the right direction. They were so close. Now, it's very, very possible we'll get another flagship phone from HTC before the end of 2017, and for the company's sake, I hope it takes a long look at what the U Ultra does and doesn't get right before they launch whatever's next.